Hello folks, Nathan here, and I'm at Cars, Bikes, and Coffee. This is in Torrance, California, and this is a special event that's done every third Saturday of the month at Honda headquarters, once again in Torrance, California. And there's a variety of different people that you're going to be seeing driving through here. It's not just about Honda, but this is a special event. So I'm going to take you guys around and tell you one of the reasons why this is a special event. Has nothing to do with that raptor in the background, folks. Please ignore the man behind the curtain. Okay, here we go. It has to do with what I'm pointing at right now. For those of you listening, that's the Honda S2000. Here in the United States, and I believe around the world, there were two generations. And one of the reasons why it's important is because today is the 25th anniversary of the Honda S2000. At the time, I believe it put out more horsepower per cubic inch than any other naturally aspirated or normally aspirated, depending on how you say it, powertrain. And it was also one of the first sports cars that I tested as a professional. Now, if you're listening, what I'm doing is I'm panning around. This is the people who are coming in. There's quite a conga line of cars. And even the regular parking lot is absolutely chock full of Honda vehicles and a whole bunch of S2000s. And look at that, guys. There is a convertible. Is that a Celica? Holy cow. Okay, so a couple things that I wanted to point out right away. First of all, this is a Honda event, but you're going to be seeing lots of other vehicles, and I will be describing them. And what we're going to do is we're going to go from here. By the way, there are motorcycles here as well, if you couldn't hear. But we're going to go from here, which is essentially the entrance, and it's just started. So even though we got here to get footage, we being me, at 6 a.m., this opens at 9 a.m., and it's just a few minutes after 9, and you're going to see a lot of people gathering here soon. So let's talk about what this event is. Essentially, this is an event, once again, every third Saturday of the month, where they bring in various vehicles that, obviously Honda vehicles, but they absolutely have no problem with you bringing in just about anything else. And we're going to go and swing by a few of these vehicles. Yes, for those of you who are looking, that is a giant F250? Yeah. And those are slammed and bagged Toyota Siennas. There's two of them. I'll show you those in just a moment. But this is really about the Honda S2000 and other performance vehicles that Honda's built. So 25th anniversary for the Honda S2000, but also sports cars are here that Honda has built. So there's a ton of Acuras. The NSX is like everywhere. Oh, and I'm going to pan over to a slightly modified, is that a Civic? It's really hard to tell, but it might be a Lakers fan. I should probably yell, "Go Nuggets." Oh, no, he's got a full Kobe thing. I can't say anything. Actually, it's pretty cool. Oh, it's an Accord. I couldn't even tell because of all the stuff that's on it. Yeah. Something when you start wrapping a car, I just cannot tell what the hell I'm looking at. All right. So anyway, this event, what we're going to do here is go from the very back, essentially where people are entering from the street, and we're going to work our way up to there. Now, what I'm pointing at is Honda headquarters here in North America, Southern California. And there is a museum in there. We're going to have a quick look at that. And if everything works out, we may be able to get an interview with Carl Pooley, who is the head honcho of that museum and a very good friend of TFL. And in the future, we're going to be bringing old Honda Civic back here, which will go back into the museum. One of Carl's main goals is to have every or nearly every vehicle in that museum drivable. And more information, hopefully, if everything works out, TFL will be spotlighting one of those vehicles every week or two from the museum. They'll actually pull them out and have us have access to them, which is super cool. Okay, down. Let me just get around the Civic. I wanted to show you these vans because they're nuts. But, someone had to slam them and make sure that they're, I guess it's not going to be the most comfortable ride. That's what I'm thinking. But yeah, these are Toyota Sienna's new ones. And yeah, they're slammed and I'm assuming bagged because otherwise I think they'd scrape everywhere they go. Wow. Okay, enough on that. Oh, look at this. Now this, for those of you who, sorry about the silence, I don't even know what this is. I know it's a Honda minivan, but I've never seen this particular one before. And it's very square. It's called the Stepwagon. STEPWGN. Interesting. And they've obviously done some sort of modification because it looks like it's lower than it should be, and probably aftermarket wheels or Mugen wheels. That's a really cool van. All right, let's get walking here. One of the things that separates a lot of the people here from, say, your average crowd is the fact the majority of these vehicles are indeed Japanese. More importantly, they're Hondas. Why is that important? Well, aside from the fact this is Honda headquarters here in the state and nation, it's also Honda, I believe, was one of the early adopters of the small hot rod car, hot hatch, higher powered sedans. And they really did a great job, I think, with finding something to fight against and win against the Miata. These S2000s, and these are just a couple. Wait till you see the group that I have stashed over there. I don't have them stashed, but these cars really brought in a completely different picture of what horsepower is. They were produced to really peak, I think, between 8 and 9,000 RPM, depending on the generation. And for the most part, manual transmission, front engine, rear drive, 50-50 weight distribution. And I mean perfectly balanced. So there's a lot going on with these cars that makes them into prime material for battling against really anything in its class. I've heard that in a straight line, the Miata of its time, if it was turbocharged, could take it. If it was normally or naturally aspirated, it wouldn't. But more importantly, that these were supposed to be much more efficient at the track, going around corners. So I'm curious to hear your perspective. But before we do that, look at this. All right, so you guys are in for a treat. It's an old Toyota. This is front engine rear drive. It's not a 20R or a 22R. This is a 3TC. God, I don't even know what year this is. I'm going to say it's a 78, but wow. Very modified, obviously for track. Okay, sorry, I caught my eye. Yeah, when there's shiny objects, I tend to run to them. Okay, let's continue. And we're going to work our way. Now we're entering what is the first parking area for people who are actually showing off their cars. This is some of these kind of don't belong here. It's like a beat up old Accord. But anyway, the rest of these, it's an old Chevy truck. Preludes. Actually, I'm going to show you some Preludes later. And near the end of this video, I will be showing you an interesting connection to Old Man Roman. There's actually two connections here. He's owned a few Hondas, and I have only owned one actual Honda in my life. And I'll show you what that is. They have it here, although the trim I had was slightly different. Okay, so let's continue with one of the funkiest and I think coolest vehicles Honda has ever built. There's a line of Honda Elements. Almost all of these have been modified. Now, what's really cool about the Honda Element is that there are people who are actually cutting the roof and making them pop tops, which is just awesome. And there is a rumor, which we've written about a few times, that the Element may return in a slightly different form. All right, now I'm gonna pop the camera up and just pan a little bit around, kind of showing you the size of this area. And this is just the start. All right, and God, this guy and this Accord with the Lakers stuff is like constantly where I am. I'm trying to avoid him because I'm trying to avoid the music, because I don't want Jay-Z coming after me and saying, hey, you owe me money for, you know what I mean. Okay. Holy cow. Check this out. These are all Civic R's. This whole line going all the way down. That's very cool. Okay. Let's have a look over here. Now this area, yeah, this is like all dominated by Civic Type R's. There are a few other vehicles here, Acuras and whatnot as well, but look at that line. That's really cool. There's a variety of different clubs here that are involved. Now, I bet you're wondering about clubs and also about contests. And yes, on both. I don't know the club names. I decided a long time ago that memorizing all the different thousands of clubs that exist is just too difficult for my old feeble brain. So I don't do it. What I do is occasionally interview people who are with these clubs, and they can tell me exactly who they are. And sadly, once again, feeble brain, I'll forget, within 5 minutes. So aside from that, there is a contest that they're putting together for Honda S2000s. And it works like this. If you bring your car, you state whether you're competing with stock, modified, and then third category, the person who drove the furthest to get here, which I think is actually pretty cool considering. So if you've driven a far distance and you come here, you can actually win some sort of prize. I think they're jackets and whatnot. We'll check it out near the end, but that's 3 hours from now. This show runs from 9 a.m. to noon, and there is free coffee, which I've already had a lot of. By the way, finding a minor cold, so if I sound a little nasally, I apologize. All right, let's continue. Ooh, there's a line of motorcycles over there. Now, this is where Case and Alex would be freaking out because they're motorcycle monkeys, and this is what they love. I'll sweep by that area. Because I'm not a motorcycle monkey, I don't really know what I'm looking at. Really, the only Honda motorcycle I care about is the little tiny electric one, which is seriously my hog. Such a great little bike. Front wheel drive, electric scooter. Can't get better than that. And it folds into a suitcase because, well, James Bond is awesome. That's all I got to say. All right, so let's continue. Looks like we've got a little something going on over here. Oh, a contest. Hot Wheels and some other stuff. Okay, so let's continue. It's actually quite a family event. I'm pretty impressed with the fact that I'm seeing dogs, cats, kids, all same category to me, but they're all kind of hanging out here. And we got some motorcycles, and they are by far not stock, at least the ones I've looked at. Ooh, there's an old one. Once again, don't really know what I'm looking at. That's a 754. Oh, I think that's the 4-cylinder bike where it's, oh, that's really cool. Some slightly modified scooters. Pit bikes, I should say, sorry. A couple Ninjas. Wow. And then a Ducati, just to kind of embarrass other people, I guess. Because Ducatis are really cool, even I know that. All right, go down a little bit further. A lot of bikes here. And that's just the start. There's actually a whole other side where they're adding bikes as well. Okay, other stuff in this area includes, wow, really? There's a 1969 El Camino, which is really clean, and it's on a calendar. So yeah, sorry, that kind of took me by surprise. Once again, any car can really be here, but it is primarily for Hondas. All right, let's move around to the next part. Try to move past these folks. Ages have been an interesting mix here too. Quite a mix of new and old with cars, but also young and old with people. Little kids all the way to grandmas and grandpas, even older than Roman, surprisingly. So there's quite a mix here. And once again, this is just the beginning. We're anticipating, I don't know, 3 times the amount of people you're seeing right now, especially considering how many cars are here. A lot of people are in the museum right now. You'll see that in a minute. Okay, so let's start with the main attraction. We're finally up here after doing some hoofing. And this is where the Honda S2000s really begin. Car after car. Once again, in many people's estimation, one of the best 4-cylinder, non-turbo sports cars ever made. This is what people say. Some of these are practically brand new and look like they're right out of the wrapper. Many of them are modified. And some of them, like the one I'm looking at right now, are in the process of being what looks like rebuilt and modified at the same time. There's a fender missing, and there's some overspray going on here. It looks like someone's decided to repaint it. Very interesting. Good blue, though. All right, let's continue. People hanging around. Some people are, yeah, that purple's not stock either. You know, they're the fenders, but looks pretty cool. All right, continuing. Wow. There's its brother. Same body kit, but in yellow. I like to call it Andre Yellow now if it looks like it's Chevy. All right, let's continue. This is one of those cars that actually looks really good in extreme colors. All right, this is just the first row. There's several other rows. And I'm not going to bore you with describing every single one that I'm seeing, just the ones that stand out. Some of these are, oh, look at that. See, I've seen this one I saw earlier, and it has a really tasteful fender kit that I like. It just spreads out a little bit over the front wheel, but it's not like a giant blister, so I'm kind of digging that. Now I am getting closer to the speaker, so I'm going to try to move away from it as I go through here. There's Grandma and Grandpa. I'm going to pass by them. Sorry, guys. All right, moving through here. Let's try to put a little bit of my volume ahead of the music, so once again, we don't have to worry about copyright issues. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. That is unique. What the hell is that? It is a Honda S2000, but the body kit makes it look like a Mazda RX-8 with white wheels. Okay. Sorry, screaming people, so let me get past that. Hi, Poochie. Awesome. All right. Music's behind me now. Woo! All right, we're just continuing down this row. Oh, wow, look at that. License plates from Illinois, and it is a very cool vintage Land Cruiser. Nathan, you're not here for Land Cruisers. Yes, okay, continue. So, let's go over here. Now, this is where the sponsorship row is. There are, as I said, other rows of S2000s. Can only cover so much of them. Ooh, there's a Honda CVCC. Ooh, looks like the earliest generation of it, too. And, oh, it's left-hand drive. That's rare. So, let me see here. And it looks like it's got a cage. Oh, yeah. This thing is actually set up for street and handling. Yep, N600. Oh, these things are so cool. Kind of taking the Mini Cooper and making it far more reliable. I guess. I know. You can write me, and I got everything wrong about how difficult it is to work with Mini Coopers compared to Hondas. All right. Continuing. Push through some people here. Coming through. Here we go. So this is the beginning of the booths. This is a Honda booth with just lots of gear. There's another booth for nostalgic car. That explains the Toyota. All right. El Camino College, which, by the way, is right down the street from my new house. And there's some race setup vehicles here and more motorcycles, which I was talking about earlier. And tuner stuff. Oh, okay, I get it. So that's tools for people who are doing solo tuning. And let's continue a little bit further down here. More Honda stuff with merchandise, but this is actually this is promotional, very cool stuff. Oh, that I think you're allowed to grab too in some cases. And some more motorcycles, pit bikes, and a Honda Trail 125, super popular motorcycle or scooter depending on your definition. All right, that voice in the background with the slight, I don't know, European accent. I think he's British. That's Carl Pulley, once again, friend of TFL's. And I am going to take this opportunity to walk around the corner here. I'm heading towards the Honda Museum, but I'm trying to do it in such a way to where I'm avoiding the music. It's one of the problems with what we do. We have to avoid music, which sucks. All right, see if I can make it around this guy. All right, so for those of you who are curious, Honda headquarters is located in Torrance off of Torrance and Van Ness Boulevard, I believe. And I got here so early, I kind of forgot how I got here. Now this place is interesting. They do design, they do parts, they have a whole bunch of that type of stuff going on here. It's a rather large campus, but Carl managed to convince the higher-ups that they need a Southern California museum. And that's exactly what they did. They put together this very cool little museum. Now, we've already done videos on the museum, so for me to actually walk through there and show off everything that's there, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. There's another video, I believe it's on Classics, where Case and I do a nice little roundabout there, and we actually spotlight a few vehicles there. That will be the same museum where we have an opportunity to spotlight their individual vehicles in the near future. I can't talk over this music very well. I'm trying. All right. Continuing. Let me move around the corner here. Carl, just cut the music for 30 seconds. All right. Another one of my favorite motorcycles. I know it's a scooter. All right. Continuing. We're almost at the entrance of the museum. Oh, excuse me. I did not do that on purpose, if you were asking. All right. All right, continuing. It's actually quite a bit of seating here that nobody's taking advantage of on the front of the building. So if you're coming to this event, you do have tables with, I don't know, about 50 to 60 seats that are just not being used. And I don't think Honda security will throw you out for that. All right, continuing. Trying to escape the music. All right. All right, I'm going to try to get past this. Here we go. All right, so now, remember I was telling you there would be a Roman connection and even a Nathan connection? So there's two parts to that. So, walking over here, this is the Honda CRX. All right. United States, well, technically there were 3 generations, but I don't really consider the disc sole being part of that. Some of you guys agree, some of you disagree. Whoa, check out this Mugen CRX. I know, I probably pronounced it wrong, it's probably Mugen or something like that, but whatever. Okay, so this is similar in terms of year to the one that Roman had, actually. I think that one is, which is an SI. And that one Mid 80s, I think, is the one that he had. Well, moving forward, have to talk. Sorry, guys. You see? Moving forward, there we go. Second generation of the CRX, and this one is similar to the model that I had. The one I had was actually known as an HF. This is an SI. The HF, high fuel mileage. I'm not 100% sure if that's actually what it meant, but because of what it was, it actually had a lot of deletes. Did not have a rear wiper. It did not have dual exhaust. It did not have the powerful engine. Only came with a manual transmission, and it was not very powerful, but it got killer mileage. I was near 50 miles per gallon combined. I drove that for about 2 years. Really good car. Not exactly ideal for a family, though. But this second generation was much larger than the first generation that Roman had. I actually was really comfortable driving it. It's just a question of falling on the ground in order to get into it, but you know how it is. Okay. Our Honda Preludes. Actually, strange. This is the last generation, and over there is the previous one. That previous generation, I knew a girl who had one, with four-wheel steering on it. And it's actually a really fun car to drive. Okay, now we're going to try to work our way into the museum. You're going to hear crowd noise, but at least you won't be hearing the music, which I've been trying to talk over. Not the easiest thing to do. All right. In we go. And I have no... What's this line for? Oh, it's for probably free swag. All right, so let's get past this. We're going to head over towards the museum. And I'm going to try to get past some people here. Oh, excuse me. Thank you. All right. So I'm going to do a quick loop through the museum. By the way, there are restrooms inside the building, and they have some restrooms that they've set up in the parking lots if you're curious about coming here. Okay. So I'm not going to describe everything I'm seeing in the museum. However, there is a section which is Honda history that we just passed through. And it's going up to motorcycles on one side and race cars and production vehicles on the other. It's basically how they have it divided. Continuing through, we've actually had a chance to get nice and close and personal with some of these things. And there's some extraordinary, clean versions of these vehicles. For those of you who don't know, I'm a bit of a fan of certain Acuras as well. Now, so I did own a Honda, but I did also own an Acura. I forgot to mention that. And the one I owned was the first generation MDX. Okay. Oh, here we go. So concept of the Acura ZDX EV. And there's some other concepts kicking around here as well. But going further down, CRZ Hybrid Type R. Yeah, I don't think that ever saw production, but it is certainly very cool. And this, which is one of the vehicles that really got my interest. What do you think that is? Now, what I'm looking at here, something about the size of a Civic, but it has a bed in it. That's right. I forgot the name of this concept. I'm going to go to the front and see if I can get that name. Some really cool bikes here as well. I believe these are all Hondas. All right, around the corner. And, excuse me. Hopefully the plaque is there, because I do not know exactly what that is called.
Oh, you got one over, right?
There we go. Oops, excuse me. Sorry. There we go. 99 Sprocket Concept. All-wheel drive hybrid. Oh, I think this is the one that had the rear bed was actually able to convert and turn it to a four-seater. Part of it would be exposed in the back. And something like this would be super cool today. Oh my God, what a cool car. All right, well, anyway, so that's a really brief run through the museum. Now I'm in the Honda building, and a lot of noise in here. Move through the front entrance. So, one of the reasons I like spotlighting Honda actually is right there. Not the power of dreams. I'm not going to go through that whole thing about their dream, this and that, and whatever. However, Honda is one of the few organizations I know of that builds everything from robots to jets to cars to race cars to motorcycles. Really, they're the entire package. There aren't that many other automakers that can really claim that, which is saying something. All right, now this is the swag division. I believe everybody here is trying to get some t-shirts. Hey, excuse me. Sorry, guys. Thank you. All right, go through here. Pardon me. Hey, excuse me. All right, sorry about that, guys. All right, yeah, they've got quite a popular little swag thing. Coffee shop is inside, free coffee outside. The free coffee goes from 9 a.m. until noon, which, by the way, I highly recommend. I've already nuked a bunch of cups if you couldn't tell. Okay, now, wanted to bring things to a close. I do have some additional footage that I've put in here. I'm hoping the time-lapse actually worked, and if it did, you guys will be able to see that if you actually watch this video. But if you're listening, I will go through the whole thing with Honda once again. Third Saturday of every month, Honda will have a theme-based event. You're welcome to come and bring pretty much anything. I probably wouldn't recommend bringing a 1997 Ford Expedition, which is exactly what I did. And I thought they would try to tow me out of here and give me scornful looks. But you know what? So far, nobody, they've just laughed. And people recognize the Colorado plate and recognize the TFL brand that I'm wearing because I'm a walking billboard. So they've been quite nice here. It's actually a really chill event, and I like that. It's not too loud. They're not running donuts in the parking lot. They got a heavy security presence, and I think that they would eject you rapidly if you did that. But I believe there's no fee to come in. It's completely free, which means free coffee. And different displays every month. There are different booths every month. They do have food trucks. I count 2, maybe 3. Oh, they got one of those pro golf places that's where you slap the ball and hit it into the wall, and they tell you that you're really good at golf and you should come over to their pro golf place and pay a lot of money and have some fun. Yeah, count me out. I'm not very good at golf. Yeah, altogether, this has been a very good event. Not the easiest thing to walk through and talk. That music is really hard to talk over, but anyway, I'm over the moon that the S2000 is getting some recognition. I think it's one of those cars that's sort of an afterthought because there are all these other Asian muscle cars that kicked in around the same time, and it sort of takes the mantle from some, but it doesn't quite measure up to others. For instance, back then, the 300Z twin turbocharged V6 car, or the Mitsubishi, pretty much everything that Mitsubishi built back then that was on the streets, the Eclipse and everything else, all-wheel drive, turbocharged engines, twin turbocharged V6 or a single, depending on the car that it was. I mean, those cars were remarkably fast and very capable. The thing about the S2000, which I learned early on, is that it was a vehicle that really gave you the essence of driving without any of the extra chintz. Acceleration, you really had to throttle it, man. We're talking about 8,000 RPM, 9,000, I think, in some cases. This is back in the early 2000s. I mean, the car technically started in 99 and was sold for 10 years. There are 2 different generations, if I haven't covered that part yet. And the 2 different generations, there was no horsepower bump, I don't think. I think there was a slight torque bump, and that was one of the things. The car was never a very torquey car. Really was all about the horsepower, getting that engine to spin like crazy in order to make it do, frankly, what it did. And a lot of kids love using them as drifters because what you're doing is you're taking a car that already exists. They're not crazy expensive right now. I think the value has gone up a little bit, but it's still an accessible car. Lots of parts are out there, and it's also a bespoke powertrain. Honda doesn't use it anywhere else, or hasn't, as far as I know. Let me know in the comments if you guys think it's different. Anyway, one final look. It is getting more and more crowded, so this is a good time for me to sign off. But check it out. Yeah, lots of people here. I don't think they're going to be doing the cha-cha or anything like that, but once again, family events, so I don't think they're going to be playing gangster rap either. Alrighty, guys. Thanks for joining me. TFL Car, this is Nathan. I'm going to sign off. And, well, good place to do it. Right by the Honda flag. All right. So see you guys next time. Have a good one.